Good morning and welcome to Begin in the Word. Our text today comes from the Old Testament book of poetry, Proverbs chapter 14, verse 25. Solomon says, "A truthful witness saves lives, but one who breathes out lies is deceitful." This week we've been looking at proverbs that are standalone proverbs. They're not grouped together in groupings in various formats, but they just stand alone. One verse, one proverb. These are scattered throughout the book of Proverbs. There are fewer of them than you might think. But when you find them, they are these little treasures of very important information, and they're typically simple to understand. And that's what we've worked on this week. This proverb is one of these, a standalone proverb. A truthful witness saves lives. This is the first phrase of the proverb. The first part of the parallel statement, the second statement, but one who breathes out lies is deceitful. And this is one of these cases where we have an antithetic parallel proverb. The first proverb says something positive. The second proverb says something negative. And if you'll remember from a few weeks ago, we found that when you find the word but, almost always is a antithetic parallel proverb. It's interesting that the Bible finds ways to say things to make sure that we understand it. It'll say something from a positive perspective. It'll say something from a negative perspective, both intended to help us see the full side of the truth that's involved. Now let's think about the wording in this proverb. It'll help us just a little bit to understand the construct of it. While it's not a chiastic proverb, the first part having equal words in the second part, it nevertheless is parallel. And so we can compare the words to help us understand this meaning and the sense of the words. And the first word has to do with the first word in the first phrase, saves. It's talking about what this truthful person does. They save. In the second part, it's talking about the one who speaks, the speaker in the second part of the proverb. The part that really helps get our hands around what's being said here, though, is this second grouping of words. The word lives. This person saves lives. And the counterpart to that is the word lies, L-I-E-S, in the second. It's interesting that those are opposite of one another. The notion is this, and this is part of what's embedded in what the writer is trying to tell us. Truth gives life. Lies give the opposite of life. Remember, this is an antithetic parallel proverb. Everything in the second statement is meant to be understood as opposite of the first. Truth saves lives, but the opposite of that, lies, brings death. And that's what we're meant to understand here, is that a lie brings forth death where truth brings forth life. And that's the underpinning of the meaning of this proverb when he says a truthful witness saves lives. Truth brings life. But one who breathes out lies is deceitful, and the word sometimes is translated as treacherous. It's dangerous. It is a danger to life. It is a danger it can possibly bring death. Let's think about the application of this just a little bit. A truthful witness saves lives. This is told in the context of a legal setting, hence the word witness is used here. And think about our day or any time where a trial might take place. There's a witness that must tell what they saw. They must report what happened. This could be true in a trial where the parents are asking the children what happened, and one of the children now must be a witness to the event. Or maybe it's a trial at work where the boss has found something has gone wrong, and he's got to ask what happened, and maybe the other coworkers have to witness to that event. Or, as the photograph infers, maybe it's in a legal court, a court of law, where a person has witnessed a crime and they must now tell what they saw. This proverb tells us that there is never, ever a time to tell anything other than the truth. In a court of law, they make you take an affirmation, or sometimes it's called an oath, where you have to affirm or swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. This is the way our life should always be. We shouldn't have to affirm it to let it be known that what we have to say is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. When we do, it saves lives. It gives life. It brings about living circumstances. It adds and breathes life to the situation. Truth does. On the other hand, this second phrase is almost meant to be funny. It's, as is quite often the case in Proverbs, the idea of breathing out lies. It's trying to create this picture of this person just spewing out words and spewing out words and spilling out words, and they're all lies. And those lies are deceitful. They are treacherous. There is never a time when telling a lie is the right thing to do. Never. It is always the right thing to do to tell the truth, even when we think it might hurt us. I'll give an example of that. Think about the two questions we might ask, and it'll help us unravel this example. When you tell the truth, blank things happen. Well, think about the lives that are saved. Think about breathing life into a situation. Think about adding livelihood to the circumstance when truth is told. When you tell the truth, good things happen. Always. The ultimate outcome of telling the truth is always good. The right thing happens. In order to understand this, let's think about a multiple choice question we might ask. And so put yourself in this situation. And these two questions will be on Friday's test. You did something that you weren't supposed to do. It's caused a lot of problems. You must now go and tell your parents or your boss or your spouse, etc. You've got to tell them what happened. You should, A, tell the truth, because when you tell the truth, good things happen. Or B, don't say anything and hope that it will go away. Or C, make up a story and tell it and hope everyone will believe it. Or D, blame it on somebody else. Blame it on something else. Don't take responsibility for it. Now, obviously, the correct answer is A. That's what we've learned in this text. You tell the truth, because when you tell the truth, good things happen. When I was a young boy in school, I was playing around one day and I damaged some school property, me and a friend of mine. And we did the last three things. We did all the wrong things before we told the truth. First, we just didn't say anything and hoped nobody would see it. Well, sure enough, somebody found it. So that plan did not work. It will be found out. Even if it's at the end of time, God's light will reveal all things. You cannot hide something and hope that it goes away. It will not work. It is deceitful. It is treacherous. Telling the truth always brings about the right circumstances. The good things happen when you tell the truth. So we said, well, my friend and I, we said this regarding this piece of equipment that we damaged. We said, well, we'll just say that it was always that way. We'll just hope that everybody accepts that. Well, it was clearly not always that way. And obviously, somebody had intentionally damaged this piece of equipment. And when we attempted to tell that story, the superintendent confronted us with this, and we obviously could not stand true to that story. And we were found out. So then we said, oh, no, well, somebody else did it. And of course, that other person was nowhere near the event. It was impossible for them to have done this thing, to tear up this piece of equipment. And so that didn't work. We were not successful at blaming on somebody else. And so finally, the truth came out. It would have been so much better, and it is always better, if you just tell the truth. because when you tell the truth, good things happen. A truthful witness saves lives, but one who breathes out lies is deceitful. I hope as you have begun today in the Word of God, you will live out today in the Word of God.